Hey there! Throughout the last few weeks, Z and I have been working and experimenting with Tediore setups on VEX. We went through setups that could one-shot big N core Origo, kill-skill setups, no kill-skill setups, and some other ideas. I'm here to showcase the one that has felt the most consistently strong, and that is Chuck Spam, with some extra sauce. Chuck Spam stacks bleed excellently, and with the right gear, allows us to focus almost primarily on movement and kill speed strats. It ends up being completely independent of kill skills. Speaking of kill skills, those required setting them up with Spectres, which was super strong but also kind of a waste of time. However, the real problem with that setup is that it currently runs into an issue where Spectre bleeds actually override Vex bleeds when a mech stacks, so we had to abandon that idea for now. One interesting thing about Tediore reloads is that their shooting variant actually gets ×3 on-hit gun damage on its formula. It has to be only the shooting reload without any other modifier. While Chuck doesn't get that, our other auxiliary gear can, and will have a decent amount of gun damage coming from Bullet Train. I'm also thanking Joe for long, since he has done a lot of work related to Tediore damage formulas ever since BL3. Check out his Tediore Rafa build. This build also has a written mobalytics guide. Check that for the most up-to-date version and future variants of it before any video is made. Links will be below. So, our skill trees. On Blue Tree, Idle Hand is a must grab, since reload speed is essentially a large DPS increase. On Green Tree, Leeching Attunement is an easy grab. It again gives us reload speed. Furthermore, the lifesteal feeds Blood's power and grants us sustain. Fiendish Invigoration feeds Bullet Train and also positively affects our reloads. Fire Rate affects how soon you can shoot after a reload, so you can get to the next reload quicker. In the case of Chuck, Fire Rate starts having a noticeable effect on throws per second when at high reload speed levels. If for some reason you don't want this skill and would prefer something less involved, you have the option of Conjunction here in Green Tree, or even Enchantment in Red Tree. Blood is Magic is also an okay choice, and you can even invest 2 points in Blue Tree so you gain access to Coven and Spectres for the crit chance, so this is kind of up to you. Bloodletter is central to the setup. Chuck stacks bleed very efficiently and it quickly adds up to a ton of damage. Material components boost bleed twice in the double dip of kinetic damage, and then once more through kinetic status damage. Target prescience works on Tediore throws, including Chuck. We rely on this as our base crit chance for triggering bleeds. Tediore throws can also be manually aimed at crit spots. Keen Mind gives our bleeds access to critical hits. Phase Pocket is a great damage increase to any Tediore reload. Mech size increases means more damage on Tediore throws. Ars Arcana will be boosting our bleed damage. Essence Leech gives us more damage through Blood's power. And Blood's power itself gives us 90% bonus kinetic damage in this setup, while also triggering its own bleed and contamination stacks. In terms of augments, you want to use Grave Harvest for mobbing. For bossing though, you can swap to Geistwave if you wish, although this is not always something you need to worry about doing. I'd mainly do it for the tankier bosses. For our specializations we have the Best Defense, which provides a constant damage boost that will be double dipped on bleeds. Contamination for increased consistency and high synergy with our multi-hit reloads. Bullet Train, which synergizes well with our movement speed boosts from Incarnate and Fiendish Invigoration. And finally, I Am a Gun to feed back half of any gun damage we get as skill damage. Other options you can play with include Riddle You This and a Honed Mind. Depending on your playstyle, you might prefer Riddle You This over Bullet Train. So let's move on to the gear. Our main weaponry consists of Chucks. I like the Replicator Homing and the Replicator Javelin variants. The homing variants let us focus entirely on positioning and movement while looking at the boss's overall direction, maximizing our benefits from Bullet Train. The Javelin variant is excellent for situations where you'd prefer to manually aim your throws, like when Origo or Radix fly for example, or if you just want to hit a crit spot consistently for max damage. The Javelins will have higher numbers, but whether they win out over the homing variants really depends on some random factors alongside your own aim. The non-replicator versions of these are also great and can technically have higher peaks since the individual hits are a bigger number, though they have a slower buildup of damage. Only the replicator versions of Chucks actually show their reload modifiers on the weapon card. For the rest, you have to identify by the part difference or throw each one you find to see which reload type you got. Our other weapons include a shooting reload Atlas Tracker TK's Wave, which is very powerful for some bossing encounters, and the tracker actually works on the reload shots. A shooting reload Murmur, which has hefty damage on its reloads and can trigger some big bleeds. You can also try any other reload variants. While this isn't the perfect setup for the chunkier reloads like Murmurs, they still work just fine. We also have a Ruby's Grasp, which is a nice backup tool for just about any scenario. And alongside that, I also recommend any other purple Tediores that can come in handy, like an assault rifle with the SMG Daedalus mode switch, which helps minimize ammo issues when mobbing. Alongside that, you can also try the Tediore shotguns for some chunky reloads. But simply consider giving a try to just about any other quirky Tediore reload gun you run into, legendary or not. As for the rest of our gear, for rep kit, we have a few viable choices. A purple Order rep kit with enrage and reload speed is nice. A Warpaint, AF1000 or even triple bypass with reload speed or enrage are also nice. Crit Knife is our favorite ordnance for bossing. For any other activities, you can kind of use whatever you like, since our reloads are already splash damage and can deal with vile enemies just fine. For class mods, a nicely rolled Scion is our main choice. However, a decent Teen Witch can be a very good fallback option or even a main choice. Some other purple choices include a Commander or even a Transistor. Be on the lookout for gun damage, gun crit chance, kinetic damage, or even skill damage and skill crit chance rolls. Our general use shield is the What's for Dinner for the bonus shock damage. Look for at least a Siphon roll on it, with Vagabond also being very nice. The other option is Protean Cell, which offers significantly more damage for boss melts, and the bonus shock applies to bleed itself, but it needs to be worked around its activation mechanic. Since enhancements are a pain to actually farm, I'll just give you the general guidelines on the ones you can keep an eye out for. On legendaries, Banger plus Divider is a nice roll for bossing. Banger plus Recycler is useful for mobbing. Purple Banger enhancements have access to 3 stat rolls and can be very strong. Be on the lookout for gun damage, gun type damage, gun mag size, and gun type mag size stat rolls. For firmware, we have Tier 2 bullets to spare for the mag size, Tier 1 get throwing for the damage. This actually works on Tediore throws. This ordnance damage from get throwing and the extra damage from the banger enhancement are actually on their own portion of the formula, being additive to each other and a mode to the rest. This makes it a very nice boost. Tier 1 Oscar Mic for the reload speed. This could also be something else of your preference, like Tier 2 Get Throwing or Tier 1 Airstrike for the splash radius, which can be useful for hitting some reloads. And finally we have Tier 2 Heating Up, which is a very significant reload speed boost. I'll be leaving you to some gameplay now if you're interested. Have a nice day, and thank you for watching.
The timekeeper is gonna love me!
Analyzing.
Rest in misery!
Homing on target. Activate. Hunting. Locating. Combat command. Target found. Searching for target.
Screw you! Screw the timekeeper!
Locked in. I can look away. Analyzing. Homing on. Searching. You did not succeed. Chasing. Scanning.
Where will your plastic soul go?
Hunting. Target. Activating. Homing.
Death to a life imitated!
Hey,
gets old.